So hi, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of the summer refresh retreat. I'm super excited to be sharing this with you. If you missed day 1, we talked all about getting it out. We talked about a brain dump. We talked about getting your wish list and your big picture goals for the next 90 days all out on paper. And so if you want to check that out, if you missed the video, I'll link that below. You'll see the replay available to check out. So today on day 2, I really want to talk to you about letting it go. And this day today is all focused on really plugging holes. So if you imagine yourself or your energy like a gas tank on a car, there are ton of things that we're dealing with all the time. On day 1, we talked about getting all of your to-do lists and wish list items out on paper. And that can create space because, if you're all jumbled in your head all the time, you're trying to hold on to remember all of these things, that takes up space. Doesn't leave room for the important stuff. Today, I want to talk to you about dealing with things that are draining you. So maybe you have some holes in that gas tank and you're constantly dealing with problems again and again and again. And it could be something that you address, you deal with, and it'll stop draining your energy. If you imagine if we plug a few of those holes, how much more energy you'll have just from addressing those things. So that's the theme of today. And then tomorrow on day 3, we're going to be talking about really filling up that gas tank and more of that self-care piece. So stick around for that too. But today, day 2, I'm super excited to share this with you. So I highly recommend that we actually start this process by writing a tolerating list. And I've been doing this for quite a few years now. I've ran this same exercise through a variety of challenges I've done over the years, probably the last 3-4 years now. And I like to do a tolerating list of 10 things that you're tolerating. So I would just encourage you to pick up a piece of paper or a journal. You can type it out on your phone or on your work computer or whatever's going to work for you. But I recommend 10 at least. So it's not just 1 to 3, but you've got a significant list there. And just ask yourself, what have I been tolerating lately? So for me, the number one thing that popped out for me that I need to deal with is my filing cabinet. So back here, I have this beautiful set of drawers and this wonderful office space that I'm just so thankful to be able to work in every day. But I haven't been managing it very well. And so I've been actually piling things on top of the hanging files in that drawer. And so it's really not been functioning. So I've already started to pull those things out, did a bunch of decluttering and already working through that. The rest of my project actually sitting right here that I'm going to be working through the rest of this week. And so that's my number one project that I've focused on this week. But maybe there's other things for you. So perhaps it is something that you are needing to delegate and it's getting time to finally let that task go and let your team take it on, or to hire somebody in your personal life to help you with that area. Perhaps it's a system or like a process in your work flow that needs attention. So perhaps, you are searching for information more than you think you should. That's one of my tolerating lists as well. I send out a lot of emails to clients in my day job. And so I'm finding that I'm starting now to create a nice inventory that's ordered in kind of order of how I use them for each topic. And so I can go in and I can grab a template email and use that. Up until now, I've been searching for a previous one and then just editing it from there. But that searching time I found has been taking more effort and really wasting my time if I compared to where I have a few files where I actually have them now listed out in order where I need them, and it's really quick. So that's one of the other things that I'm going to be focusing on over this next week or two, is to really look at those things that I go to regularly and make sure that I'm creating a system that works better for me. An example could be years ago when I was working in an executive office, my staff were having problems getting things approved for transportation. Actually, it was a transportation issue. And that wasn't a function that was within our team. And so I ended up working with not only just my team and finding out the problem there, but actually communicating with the transportation team as well and talking about the process from their end. And then through that conversation, we're actually able to improve the whole process. So it may be a small task, or it could be a big systematic task that you are going to look at that you can, kind of work with. So an example I like to think of, I have a lovely garden out in my yard here, and I really like having bark mulch in the garden beds. So I don't like a big English garden where everything is full. I like much more of a Zen garden kind of idea where there's some plants and then there's a bunch of clean kind of bark mulchy area, which means a lot of weeding. And so if you put bark mulch down, you don't have to weed as much. And when it is time to weed, they're really easy to take out. And so I think of this as like a bark mulch effect. So what in your life, your personal or your professional life, where can you use that bark mulch effect? Where can you put something in place that will reduce the issue altogether, that'll stop it from happening? An example would be maybe your office provides support to the customer somewhere, or to a community section within your nonprofit that you support. And maybe there's, top 10 frequently asked questions. Maybe you can put them together on a website so that people can find that information on their own versus having to call your office all the time. Maybe there is something front end that you can improve, like within the document quality that comes to your office to process. Perhaps you can start training the folks that are writing it, or providing or empowering the people that are earlier on in the kind of system in the organization before it gets to your office to actually create better quality product coming in the door. So I love process improvement. I'd love to talk with you more all about that stuff. If you have questions or you want to chat about it, or you'd love to hear a video series on process improvement, let me know in the comments. I would love to do that with you. I think it'd be a lot of fun. It's part of one of my values is excellence. And so by process improvements, you can create ongoing excellence by growing, improving areas in these ways. So yeah, so back to the tolerating list though, look at your top 10, professional life and your personal life. And then the second step would be, how are you going to deal with it? So if your problem is, one example I've had a few years ago, felt like I was spending a lot of time driving in traffic to go to like massage and physio appointments, because I would go after work and it was going to be in, the work traffic, right? Not so much now. I'm working from home. Many people are working from home. It's a very different scenario. But just to give you an idea, the example was I was tired of driving in so much traffic. I spent so much time for an appointment. I spent like, way more than the time of the appointment in actual commuting both ways. So that was the thing I was tired of tolerating, right? Just sitting in traffic. So I could have just done what I do most of the time, which is listen to podcasts or audiobooks, nice music, just enjoy the moment, which is fine. But I thought, no, that was beyond what I wanted. And so I ended up switching it around to doing an appointment closer to my workplace when I was working in the office at the time, so that I didn't have to drive as far. It was 10 minutes away instead of 20, 30, 40 minutes away, and then the drive home on top of that. So that was a small change that really changed my quality of life on a pretty frequent basis. So what are you going to do to address the issue? What is the solution or the potential solution if you aren't quite sure what it is right now? And then if you want to take it even further, prioritize them. Number them to your 1 to 5, say your top 1 to 5 tolerating issues and that you're going to deal with, and commit to dealing with one this week. Even today, set aside 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes to address it. I thought I could do 20 minutes on my decluttering project, and it's been already ongoing for a couple of days, so that's okay. I'm, doing it a little bit, 20-minute bursts here and there. So it is moving forward, and I'm closer, and is already way more functional now. I have room to put my my journals and my kind of planners and everything right in the hanging files, which is what my vision was for that area. So once you identify your top 5, pick 1 to 3 that you're going to address right away, and then do something about it. That's it. And so a couple areas that you can look at as areas you might want to declutter. Maybe it's physical or digital decluttering. Maybe it's a mental declutter and you just need to go for a walk and get some space. Maybe it's around delegating. So I kind of have 3 Ds. There may be more. Decluttering, delegating to others, and deciding. So to decide that today you're going to deal with something. So maybe there's been something that you've been pondering for a while, or is unfinished business that you need to get back to somebody, or you need to decide to, hire a coach or sign up for that course you've been thinking about for a while, or maybe you need to decide to just deal with that filing cabinet, you know, whatever that's going to be for you. That decision moment is huge. When we leave things in pending energy, is what one of my business coaches calls it, pending energy. It's unfinished business. It clutters up our minds, it clutters up our kind of our energy and bogs things down. So if you think of I've talked about us like an energy gas tank, but if you think of us more like a water hose or a river, all of these things that are kind of just unfinished business, these things that you're kind of thinking about but never dealing with, you can see them either as drains of your energy gas tank, like I mentioned earlier, or boulders and rocks in the way of your river flowing, you know, your energy, your inspiration, your passion flowing. And so, however you want to look at it, whatever aligns with you best, taking the time to adjust these things can be huge. I've heard of some coaches actually having their clients focus on addressing unfinished business for like weeks or months on end. And that seems like a big deal, but it's not. If you imagine if you spent the next week focusing only on the outstanding items, or maybe not only, but really focusing on dealing with the outstanding items, imagine how much clearer you're going to feel by next week or a month from now once you've been focusing, you know, regularly on dealing with these things. The Fly Lady system, it's a cleaning system for home managing your home. And they actually recommend on Wednesdays to do one anti-procrastination activity. So what is one item that you've been procrastinating on and recommends you taking care of it? So that's kind of the energy of the idea around this focus today, is really about letting things go and addressing them, or deliberately choosing not to deal with them and then letting them go off your to-do list. If they've been sitting on your to-do list for the last 6 months to a year, it's probably not a priority, and maybe you can let it go. Or maybe it's something you can empower your team or your colleagues to take on instead. Maybe it's not your thing to do, and it's just a matter of getting other people involved to take it on. So I encourage you to explore this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this whole event each day. I'd love to hear what you're looking at, your top 10 tolerating items, or your 1 to 3 items that you're going to be dealing with this week, so we can cheer each other on. So mine's my filing cabinet, my emails, like I mentioned, and I haven't quite decided on the third one yet. I think those will be my main two. The other thing is actually more around systems that I think we'll talk about on day 5, systems and structures, supports, and all of that. So I'll share that with you then. So I hope you enjoy this. It's a very powerful moment to go through this kind of an exercise. That's why I keep bringing it back again and again, to actually sit down and write out 10 items. Honestly, I haven't done my full 10, so I'm not being leading by the best example, but that's okay. They're all in my head. So actually writing them down on paper is powerful. So I encourage you to enjoy that exercise and then commit to taking some action on some of them. And maybe you're not going to take action on all of them today or even this week. Maybe it's the next 90 days you address some of them. You know, you give yourself a little bit more space, depending on what it is, how quick it is going to be to take action and to complete. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this series so far, and I look forward to sharing with you tomorrow all around filling up and really making sure that you are getting your energy to thriving. And that's kind of the goal here. And I'll tell you more about my thriving matrix and all of that another time, or maybe you can see some of my other videos if you'd like to check that out. If you're not following me on YouTube, I do have a really small little YouTube channel so far. And so I'm starting to collect videos there. So if you are enjoying this content and want some more, you can check out more there, and you'll see more information on how to get from survive mode to thrive mode, or from overwhelm to overflow. And this is really how we show up as our best selves every day, how we can have this incredibly beautiful impact in those teams that we lead and the organizations that we lead and the communities that we serve, is to really do this kind of inner work first. And this is where I specialize most, is that inner work to outer work. So the inside out approach. If you want to actually check out my inside out scheduling guide, I talk about how to schedule things. And it's kind of similar to what we're talking about today, but kind of different lens as well. More just looking at how you're putting your schedule together day to day. This series, this whole retreat, the refresh retreat, is all really about kind of realigning, reconnecting, clearing out the old, making room for the new, getting clear on our goals and priorities and all that fun stuff. So I hope you enjoyed today. It's been super fun to share with you, and I look forward to chatting with you all tomorrow. on day 3, where we're going to talk about filling ourselves up. So have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.